Hello and welcome to the ShortVort on Parshas Ve'eschanan. In this large parsha, one of the highlights is Kriya Shma. We are commanded twice a day, Doraisa, from the Torah, to read Kriya Shma. Reb Yitzchak Zev Halevi Soloveitchik, the Brisker Rav, who lived from 1886 to 1959, comments on part of the words in Kriya Shma. It says in Perek Vav, it says, Ukshartem lios al yadecha b'hayuda t'tvos beinenecha. You shall bind the tefillin on your hand, and then it shall be as a totafos between your eyes. And then it says next passuk usavtam al mezuzos besecha v'shorecha. Regarding where you put the mezuzah, it says usavtem you shall write versus ukshartem as written by tefillin. Why the difference? Both of these mitzvahs are mitzvahs that it's about writing on the parchment and putting this parchment into the specific place that they're supposed to go. So the Brisker Rav makes a distinction. He says when it comes to tefillin, tefillin is something that the words and the parshas are exactly the same way that they're written in the Torah. However, when it comes to mezuzah, there are some changes. Firstly, in the Torah, the parsha of mezuzah that are inside the mezuzah are written pesucha, that they're written at the beginning of the passuk, while at the beginning of the line. While when it comes to in the mezuzah, it's written at the stuma. It does not begin at the beginning of the line. It begins in the middle of the line. And in tefillin, there's actually three parshas that are pesuchos, that are open, and one that is stuma. And that's the same way it's written, each of these parshas in the Torah. Another distinction, and this is based on the Rambam in Hilchos Mezuzah, Perek Chamishi Halacha Beis. He says that in addition to the fact that you have the change in psuchat and stuma, you also have a difference in regards to the tagin, the crowns that are written on various letters, as you can see in my background, such as a shin or an ayin or a zayin, that there's a certain style of these crowns that decorate the words. In the Torah, the decorations work one way, but when it comes to when it's written for mezuzah, then the tagin are written in a different way. It's a variety. Both, again, these issues are in the Rambam just makes a distinguishment in the Hilchos Mezuzah. So why the difference? So the Brisker Rav thinks that we can explain that when it comes to that these differences, or can explain why by mezuzah it has to write uchsabtam. It's telling us that you have to be careful how you write it. There's going to be some changes that you need to know about in writing the mezuzah. But when it comes to the tefillin, where things are exactly the same, whether written in the Torah or written for tefillin, there's no distinction. So then the Torah emphasizes ukshartem, that you should bind it and where to place the tefillin. Also in Kriya Shma and Rav Kanievsky on the Chumash, so Vishinantam Levanecha, he was asked a couple of questions about how to learn and what to prioritize learning and chinuch. And in regards to what a bala bias, a person who's a businessman or working man, that he doesn't have so much time to learn Torah, where should he put his emphasis? The answer that Rav Chaim Kanievsky gave was to emphasize learn the Mishnah Berurah, because the Mishnah Berurah will give you a chance at learning practical halacha that you need to know to live your daily life. In a similar vein, the Chofetz Chaim says in Sefer Yalkut halacha that because of what it says in Kriya Shma v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela al vavecha, that it teaches us that the Torah should be, the words of the Torah should be chakuk on our hearts, that should be engraved in our hearts, meaning we should know it all by heart. But as Daf Yomi people know, there's 2,711 dapim in the Shas that we learn through the cycle. And that's something that even the Gaonim have a difficulty to learn. There are Shas Yidden who know it all by heart, but for most people it's a challenge. But the Torah is always something that gives mitzvah, something that we can do. So the Chofetz Chaim gives an eitzah, and he says we should learn the piskei halacha of the Rif in the back of the Shas, not in the art scroll, but in the traditional Vilna Shas, such as Oz of Hadar, I believe. And so he says the halachos of Shebeshas, Ayidei Limud Ha'alfis Im Rashi V'Haran V'O Hanumuka Yosef. They learn the Piskei halachos of the Rif, whether with Rashi or to learn the Ran, the Rabbeinu Nisim of the Hanumuka Yosef. So we see here the lesson that there's a distinction between the writing that goes into a mezuzah compared to what's in the Torah, but no such distinction when it comes to tefillin. And that one of the areas of emphasis as we are kovei itim laTorah is to learn halachos so that we can live a practical life the way Hashem wants us to. Thank you for listening. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.